Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Vance. In today's tutorial, I'll be teaching you how to sew this overbust corset, and this was me when I wore it, and you see it's looking so pretty. So for this tutorial, I'll be using a crepe fabric and a chantilly lace. I'll be using the chantilly lace to laminate the crepe fabric. So I've gone ahead to put my interface on the crepe fabric. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place my pattern paper. I'm going to first fold it and then place my papers, the ones that I've cut. I'll add half inch. I actually added half inch around my patterns. Then I'll go ahead and cut. Make sure you add half inch around your pattern sheet. So this was when I was adding my half inch allowances. So when I'm done, I'll go ahead and cut it out. So this was when I started cutting it out. If you've not watched the drafting part of this tutorial, you can go back and see how I was able to draft it then before you can be able to watch this video, so you will not get confused at the end of the day. So when I was done cutting this pattern, what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead from the center front. I'll come up by half inch. I'll connect it just the way you're seeing me do. I'll go to the other part of the pattern. I'll still come up by half inch and I'll connect it. This half inch is to enable me where I'm going to cut my breast pad. So I'll be giving allowances for my breast pad. That's what this half inch I added is for. So when I'm done, I'll cut my linings for it. I've not yet cut my lining. I'll keep this aside and then I'll go ahead and fold my lining and then I'll cut. So this was when I was pinning my main fabric to my lining. So when I'm done pinning it down, I'll go ahead and cut it out. Just the way you see me doing. At this point, you have to be careful. When I'm finished, when I was done cutting the lining, the next thing I will go, because it's an overbust corset, I'll go ahead and notch those parts that I indicated my arrows. It's very important that you notch so that you are not going to get confused at the end of the day. This kind of style can actually confuse you. So I went ahead to notch the upper part of my back pattern. So where I added the arrows, I notched there to help me remember how I'm going to join them together. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. So I'll go ahead and mark out indicate my 1, 2, 3 on the lining and on the main fabric, just the way you see me doing. These things are very important. So when I'm done, I'm going to go ahead and laminate my crepe fabric with my hemming gum, and then I'm going to place my lace on top. So I'm going to go ahead and trim out my hemming gum. This is actually a hemming gum. When I'm done trimming it out, I'm going to sprinkle water on it and then I'm going to iron. I'll do this for all of my crepe fabric, all of my fabric that I cut, and then I will show you how it looks. So just watch and learn how I was able to do it. So this is the other side of my front block. I've placed my hemming gum. I'll go ahead and trim out the excesses that came out, the excesses from the hemming gum rather. Then I'll do the same thing for the other part. When I'm done with this, I'll just place my lace, and then after I'm done trimming it out, I'll also place my lace for this upper part, for this other side rather, forgive me, and then I'll place my lace just like this. I'll go ahead and sprinkle water on it and then I'll iron. Remember, I'll do this for all of my patterns. So when I'm done with this, I'm going to show you what next to do. Are you seeing when I was ironing it? I was just pressing it on top. I wasn't ironing it like the way I iron normal clothes. I was just pressing it on top of it. And then I trimmed out the excesses that remained after I was done ironing. So this is my lining pattern. I'll go ahead and place my front block side by side, my center front and my side front. I'll use my pins and pin it down. I'll do the same thing for my main fabric just as shown. I'll pin them down. I'll go ahead and sew it, and then I'll show you how it looks like. And again, I'll do the same thing for the back. I'll sew it also and show you how it looks like. Just go ahead and pay attention. This sewing pattern is actually very easy. It's just for you to watch carefully and learn. So this was when I was done sewing it. I'll go ahead and iron it and show you how it looks like. I'll do the same thing for the back. I've sewn the back too. I'll iron it too, and then I'll show you how it looks like. So when I'm done with this back pattern, what next I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my breast pad. I'll actually pad my breast part on my lining. I will not pad it on my main fabric. I'll do it on my lining. So this was when I was trimming out the breast pad. I've traced it out the shape that I wanted. I'll do the same thing for the side of my breast pad. I folded my breast pad into two. I'll go ahead and cut it. When I'm done cutting it, I'll now use my free hand to reshape the breast pad. I do not want it to obstruct my sewing, so I'll fit it and see if it was okay. It was not okay, so I went ahead to trim it the more, so it will give me a better fit. So this was when I was done sewing. You can see it. I was done sewing it. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my boning. I'm actually going to use, for this project, I'll be using a bust caging. When I'm done caging this bust part, I'm going to show you how it looks like. So this is my bone casing. You can actually use the number of lengths that you want. I used 28 for this length, and then for the width of my bone casing, I used 2 inches. So this was when I was done with my bust caging. You can see it's neatly done. So when I was done with this part, I'll go ahead and add boning to my back block. That's, I'll add boning to where my corset is going to sit, where my eyelet rather is going to sit. As you can see, I use my masking tape to tape down the tip of the boning, so it will not choke my client, so that it will not injure my client. That's what I'm trying to say. It's good that you use your masking tape to tape down the tip of your boning to avoid it piercing your client or making your client feel uncomfortable. So I'll go ahead and use my tape, and then I'll measure 1 inch apart from the first boning that I placed. I'll also use my masking tape, and I will tape my boning tip, and then I'll place it after the 1 inch that I measured. That 1 inch is where my eyelet is going to sit. I don't know if you understand. That 1 inch space I gave my boning is where the eyelets, I'm going to place my eyelet. So when I'm done sewing, I'll do the same thing for the other side of my back block. So I'll turn this I'll turn it to the front block. I will minus ½ inch from my bone casing again, so it's not going to injure my clients, I'll go ahead and sew just the way you're seeing me do. Just watch and learn. If you're confused, you can rewatch it. So at this point, guys, I want you to like my video, subscribe to my channel if you're new in my channel or is the first time you're coming across my channel. Do well to subscribe, share, leave a comment in the comment section below if you're confused or you have any question that you want to ask me. So this was when I was done ironing. You can see our overbust corset is already coming out. So the next thing I'm going to do is to introduce my boning. I'll go ahead and trim out the excess, like the tip of the boning. I'll trim out the tip of the boning. Then after that, I'm going to sew it after I was done trimming. Sorry, I don't know why this side is actually slowing down, but I just want you to watch and learn. So after I was done trimming it out by ½ inch, I'll go ahead and sew it down. That ½ inch I trim out the boning is where I'm going to use to sew my main block, that's my front block with my lining. I don't know if you get this. This one that I'm sewing the boning down now is my main fabric. So I left about ½ inch at the tip of my fabric before I started sewing the boning, so that I'll be able to join the front block and the lining, the main fabric and the lining fabric together, so I'll be able to sew it perfectly without the boning obstructing me. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So this was when I was sewing the boning. I'm done sewing it, as you can see. I'll go ahead and sew the rest and show you how it looks like. So this was when I was done sewing all the bonings. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to iron it out, and then I'll show you how it looks like. So when I'm done ironing it, I'll go ahead and then introduce my lining part. This is my lining part. So I'm going to go ahead and then add my fiber. So this is my fiber. This fiber is what is going to help me so that the lines of my bust caging is not going to show on my main fabric. So this is what is going to cover it. I'll go ahead and then pin down my fiber to my lining part, just the way you're seeing me do. It's very important that you use fiber. I do not know any other material that you can use. You can actually use your wadding, but your wadding is also good. You can use your wadding, there's no problem, but I feel like fiber is more preferable. So I'm gonna head to sew my fiber together with my lining to cover my bust caging. So when I'm done with this, I'm going to introduce my front block. So that's my main fabric to it, so that I can be able to sew it down. So this is my main fabric. I will turn it right side facing right side, then I'll go ahead and sew it. So you can see our project is already coming out perfectly. So you're seeing me now. I'm placing my main fabric and my lining piece together. Then I'll go ahead and sew it down. That ½ inch that I left, that's what I'm going to use to sew them down together. So this was when I went ahead to sew it. You have to be careful at this point so that you're not going to sew your boning together. Remember, you're only sewing the ½ inch allowance that you left. I'll go ahead and sew my armhole part. Close my armhole part. I'm not going to close the side of this block. I won't sew, just the upper part and my armhole that I'm going to sew down. So I'm going to go ahead and trim it out. I'll turn it over and then I'll show you how it looks like. So this was when I was done turning. I've gone ahead to sew it. As you can see, it's already structured. Our overbust is already structured. So the next thing I'm going to do is to join the side, my back to the side of my front block, wrong side facing wrong side. So the upper part is going to be what will be in front. This is because I'm going to use my boning to cover the rough edge. So I'm going to go to my sewing machine and join these two pieces together. Remember, the wrong side of your front block and the wrong side of your back block. So I'll go ahead and sew it, and then I'll show you how it looks like when I'm done sewing. I'll sew the both parts together. So you see, I'll do the same thing for the other part. So when I'm done sewing, I'll go ahead and trim out the part that's okay. I'll go ahead and trim out these other parts, the part that I sewn, the excesses. Then I also go ahead and trim out the down part of my blouse. So when I'm done trimming it out, I'll now use my boning to cover it up. I'll sew down the boning and show you how it looks. So you can see I've used my boning to sew down the rough edges. So I'll pipe the under of my blouse, I'll add my eyelets, and then I'll show you the final look. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in my next tutorial. Bye.